Thank you for joining us today in person and online for tomorrow's Silver Lining, Cyber Resilience, Cyber Defense, and New Technologies. Embedded in William & Mary's DNA as a public liberal arts educator is a commitment to service. From our first Chancellor, George Washington, to our current Chancellor and former Secretary of Defense, Robert M. Gates, our university exists to convene stakeholders with our wonderful partners, NATO CCDCOE, King's College London, and the EU Cyber Diplomacy Initiative, EU Cyber Direct, and supporter, the US mission to NATO. We gather around a table or square in today's instance to create synergies. When we bring liberal arts together with war studies, with computational breakthroughs like AI and neural networks, and with the art of diplomacy, we can solidly navigate today's challenges and multifaceted geopolitical opportunities, all of which span physical, social, and cyberspace. We need the apolitical freedom to ask tough questions that our organizations provide. We're neither afraid of the answer nor the hard work that will be required, and we saw that on display today. Inherent in this planning and work is preparing for the passing, however, of the torch. And as William & Mary and others look to our young leaders, we demonstrate our duty to prepare the next generation of analysts and decision makers by equipping them with the tools and mindsets to navigate through information. And rooted in our shared bond to build cyber resilience, we do our best to train and prepare them to ask the right questions and to be able to adapt to the conditions they'll be meeting in 5 years when the technologies could look very different, or old technologies might find a new application. Well, not about cybersecurity precisely, I'd like to invite 2 young leaders to the stage to share their experiences of working with NATO headquarters and coordinating the efforts of more than 400 undergraduate students to counter disinformation and NATO member and partner nations. So Tara Stearns, Kiran Ramachala, come on up.
Thank you so much, Kay, for that lovely introduction. Just to begin, the William & Mary Global Innovation Challenge, or WIMGIC for short, is an undergraduate student organization at William & Mary that hosts interdisciplinary global case competitions that unite undergraduate students from all around the world to create innovative solutions to real-world problems. We've been invited to speak today to share with you the results from last week's WIMGIC and NATO headquarters Countering Disinformation Challenge, a 7-hour intense virtual competition. In the largest challenge known to date, 108 teams consisting of over 400 students from 58 NATO members and partner nations raised their hands to be part of the virtual competition. With 38 judges and mentors from diverse professional backgrounds, 22 student volunteers, and incredible keynote speeches from Ambassador Baba Braza, General Philip Breedlove, NATO spokesperson Wana Lunjeska, and Special Advisor to the Assistant Secretary General Christine Del Bayo, the WIMGIC and NATO competition was a remarkable success. Tasked to develop innovative ideas for NATO to counter disinformation, students focused on one of 7 topics: the Russia-Ukraine war, terrorism, sexism and gender-based violence, climate security, clean energy, public health, and artificial intelligence. As the students grew their pitch, their team was guided by expert mentors from policy, academia, and more. After 2.5 hours of developing, the teams presented 3-minute pitches to our judges. As encouraged by NATO headquarters, some teams even developed a meme or infographic to assist their presentation in lieu of WIMGIC's formal slideshow option.
Great student minds from NATO member and partner nations gifted us wonderful ideas. We want to share some of the ideas that the judges deemed that were the best out of all the student teams. So in sexism and gender-based violence stream, Simon Fraser University pitched the idea for a digital literacy training for senior officials to counter disinformation and sexism and gender-based violence. And in the Russia-Ukraine war stream, the University of North Georgia the proposed fighting disinformation at its source by providing more secure internet access via NATO-funded VPNs and satellites. And the Royal Military College of Canada recommended that NATO directly counter social media disinformation to suppress Russian narratives on the war. In the climate security stream, James Madison University suggested the use of memes with a quick turnaround time to counter disinformation and climate security. And in the clean energy stream, the Vrije Universiteit de Amsterdam recommended a strong focus on susceptible demographics and in a pre-bunking effort to stop disinformation. In the artificial intelligence stream, Ensemble Laurent proposed an ad blocker like web browser extension to block disinformation. And in the terrorism stream, King's College London proposed a working group for NATO to counter disinformation, and George Mason University suggested a fund to aid in prevention of disinformation. And finally, last but not least, in the public health stream, the Institut Catholique de Paris pitched the idea of an algorithm to stop disinformation. Our competing undergraduate students are on the cusp of being the next leaders. Giving these intelligent and incredible students the opportunity to present their ideas in creating innovative solutions to real-world problems provides a vehicle for them to show the world of their potential to answer the greatest challenges of our time. These students are already applying their unique perspectives as they bud into the professional world, and they will only continue to blossom through the guidance of older and wiser generations. Through the WIMGIC and NATO competition, participants and their solutions have been and will continue to be heard by practitioners and professionals all around the world, including NATO senior leaders, with the promise of impacting future decisions.
Today's youth have been raised in this new world filled with ever-evolving technology, security, and disinformation. Considering today's undergraduates' intense familiarity and upbringing in the digital world, there is no group better equipped to lead us in securing our information streams. The minds of our participants, combined with WIMGIC's method, extends a strong interdisciplinary approach to cyber resilience, cyber defense, and new technologies. We have seen the strength in the WIMGIC and NATO headquarters competition, just as we will continue to see it in the coming years as today's youth become tomorrow's leaders. We invite you to engage with us on social media and to join us as a judge or a mentor in a future competition. And we look forward to participating in this afternoon's workshop on design thinking and entrepreneurial approaches to cyber defense. Thank you all so much.
I think we can all agree that the potential of these students and the 400 that participated in the challenge is just simply limitless. So with support from our organizations and universities, we can have this exponential impact in helping get these young minds primed years before they find themselves in situation rooms. They'll be ready. I'd now like to invite Mr. Graham Henshaw and Dr. Amy Erton to the stage to tease you really, what our young leaders will be addressing this afternoon in their workshop.
Thank you, Kay. And we do officially have the worst spot in the agenda because I think we are the last before lunch. So I'll be quick. My name is Graham Henshaw. I'm a faculty member at the School of Business at William & Mary and the executive director of the Alan B. Miller Entrepreneurship Center. The center exists to educate, inspire, and support students in developing the skills and the mindset of an entrepreneur. We do that not because we want to launch a bunch of startups, ironically. That's not actually our goal. We do it because it's our observation that students can make more meaningful progress towards challenges that they care deeply about if they're equipped with this entrepreneurial toolkit. Toward that end, we recently adopted the UN Sustainable Development Goals at our center to organize our speakers, our programs, and our resources so that we can show that entrepreneurship can be a force for good when it's applied to problems that really matter. And we're doing that this afternoon, actually, in just a few minutes. with next generation leaders participating in a workshop where they'll move from cyber challenges, which Amy will describe in just a minute, to novel ideas in just about 90 minutes. We'll pull on a thread from our morning discussion here where we'll move from enhanced understanding, I think thanks to this conference, to shaping some of the outcomes, what happens next. Most of all in this workshop, we're going to learn good innovation hygiene. I think these are tools and techniques that'll be transferable to these next generation leaders' work and lives. And while this session has been set up specifically for them, if you're curious and you'd like to pop in, we'd be happy to have you drop in. And we'll commit to sharing the results of this workshop afterwards. Thank you. Amy?
Thank you very much. Amy Ertan, Cyber Defense and Hybrid at NATO. So working with Graham to develop these problem challenges, and we have 3 challenge themes that we'll be giving everyone today. The first looks at the current threat landscape. The situation where we have this range of adversarial, state-sponsored, criminal, a range of malicious actors that conduct cyber and hybrid attacks to achieve their objectives. We've spoken today about how traditional deterrence mechanisms don't necessarily work or apply in cyberspace, and also just about this burden that we have on cyber defenders. So this first challenge theme is going to ask our young leaders to think about capability development, cooperation. What can NATO, the EU, and similar bodies do to help states defend themselves against these kinds of threats? Taking a step back for our second challenge chat, we're going to look at leadership and skills. And we're talking about recruitment and retention of cyber experts in this chronic shortage every NATO ally has, I'm going to say every state has, when it comes to getting talent and fostering talent. So we're going to be asking questions about how do you create a sustainable stream to prepare cyber leaders for tomorrow? How do you get the right skill sets, not just for technical colleagues, but the interdisciplinary at the policy level, etc. So a pretty broad question there. And then the last third problem, set of challenges that we're going to put forward, it's going to take a look forwards as well, looking at emerging technologies and the incredibly fast-moving threat landscape faced by NATO and its allies. One aspect of this refers to just the fact that adversaries will continue to make use of changing cyber techniques and emerging disrupting technologies. And NATO and its allies therefore have the challenge of predicting future threats and preparing adequately for them. So we're going to be asking the young leaders to think about how we might enhance this preparedness, what are the next priorities that we should be looking at, and how do you enable capability building to be ready for this before it happens. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope to see many of you there. Thank you.
I'd like to do a final round of thanks. Thank you again to our fantastic moderators today, Andrea, Perrette, and Raluca. Thank you, Teresa Longo and Mr. Holtz-Apple, for your thought-provoking opening remarks. Thank you one final time to our partners, NATO CCDCOE, King's College London, and the EU Cyber Diplomacy Initiative, EU Cyber Direct. If I can talk them into making this an annual thing, perhaps we'll see you back here in 2023 or Tallinn or something like that. We'd like to especially thank the U.S. mission to NATO for their generous grant that made today's event possible. Their commitment to cyber defense is so clearly evident in the many projects they spearhead and support. I deeply appreciate that it's not just talk. We're going to be doing things out of today. And because of their wisdom, today's words become recommendations for policy and that action. And we have a small army of young leaders here ready to take up that challenge. A final thank you, of course, goes to our venue host Square and our wonderful participants here today and online. Thank you for being both part of the conversation and part of the solution. Do take a pen on your way out so I don't have to fit those in my suitcase. William and Mary looks forward to working with all of you and taking those next steps together. Thank you very much.